Welcome back. So today I'm going to walk you through, I had somebody ask me about process, and so I'm going to do that fairly quickly. I'm just going to do a short video as I'm trying to get a storage device for my computer in order to be able to do more videos and easier. There have been some tricky things. So I'm going to start off talking, and I'll probably come back to this. I'll start out talking about how I go about doing character studies. And so for a character study, I start off and I do a pencil. This is copy paper. Very simple, cheap and easy. And I try to render my character on the paper with enough detail that I can trace over him. And so what happens is, shoo, 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 shoo. You can see my cat. All right, so what happens, let me plug this in. This is my new light table, larger. And I had a smaller one, but for obvious reasons, I needed a bigger one. So I would turn on my light table and then put Bristol on top and draw. So this is the same character, same size. And with I'll turn off this light. You can see through. Let's see. You can see through fairly easily. And then I can render my character in ink without, let me see, turn that back on. So I can render my character in ink without having to erase marks. So when I do have to erase marks, I do use a Staedtler Mars plastic. It's just my preferred eraser. But I try to avoid it. I would like to keep my art as clean as possible, my more finished artwork. But he's not exactly finished. So what happens next is I will take him and have him enlarged in this configuration up to her size, which is the same size paper, but I maximize so it's going up, like 125% or something like that. And then I will redraw him at this scale. And the reason I do that is I'm able to do some refinement in my detail. He's pretty good at this size. I would like to get him a little bit bigger. It gives me a little bit more in the head in particular, but in any detail I want to enhance. So that's the next step for my character study. And so I will do him again at this size to probably aim toward the book. So that's the steps I use for the character study. Let me put that away. So the next question that I had was a very real issue that a lot of artists seem to be having with how to do something that's a little more difficult, and that is doing a background. I come out of the architectural rendering sort of artistic background, and so I have a lot of experience in doing backgrounds, landscapes, that kind of thing. So the very first thing you have to do if you're trying to place characters in a background is you have to understand what it is you're trying to create. So for a background, you're either doing an interior behind, and this is an interior piece, or an exterior. So an exterior might be you see buildings in the background or character standing in front of a castle or something like that. So I start off with some kind of a thumbnail, and this is a thumbnail. It's a very rough. It shows a position of 3 characters inside a tram. and I wanted it to have a modern vibe. So I went and looked at different kinds of trains, mostly in Asia, that are Dubai even. I looked at some of theirs to see what the modern design for those kind of compartment transports are looking like. So I want something that looks familiar. It translates well to telling a story, but it gives me an idea of what kind of background I'm going to look at. So I did up a thumbnail. This is a really rough thumbnail, and then I had it blown up to 120% because this is not large enough for the size that I'm drawing. So the very first thing you want to do with a background for your characters is decide the background. Is it an interior shot? Is it exterior? What do you know about it? Then look for references on Earth, in this world, that will give you some insight into what you might want to do. And I wanted to focus everything down kind of this way. So I wanted to create a frame, which is where I ended up getting this sort of entryway kind of thing going. I wanted to suggest modern because this is a science fiction novel. And I wanted to kind of have a basic on where are the characters, what are they doing in this image. So my backgrounds are drawn from this particular background is drawn from the story The Inspectors, and it has 3 characters, 2 main characters, which are the ones in the front, and the lieutenant, which is this guy here, and they're going to a spaceship. So they're en route to a spaceship. So once you kind of know if it's an interior, exterior, then you have to decide what that background is trying to tell. What story am I telling with this image? And you want your drawing to support what you're telling. So anyway, that's where this started. So I took this, had it blown up, and let me put that off the side. And that became, I'll show you here, that became a photocopy that was blown up. And I'll turn this on. And this is upside down, but you can see that then I cut the photocopy out and I taped it to the back of a large sheet of Bristol. And using my light board, I can see through. So now my image is larger than the one I just showed you, and I can set up my borders and I can redraw to refine this really crude drawing into what I actually want to ink. So that's the step-by-step process of looking at how backgrounds are drawn. Oh, let me turn that on. And as you can see, I'm starting another pencil. So this will be done in pencil. And if I think the pencil is too dirty, at the end of drawing this out in pencil and correcting everything that I want to correct, then if it's too dirty, then I will take this drawing, remove the back of the photocopy, and trace through this onto another sheet of Bristol. So each sheet of Bristol like this is probably about $1. It's not cheap, and so you're going to make decisions based on your budget as well as what you're trying to achieve and if it's going to be a problem. This eraser will erase most of the marks, but sometimes there is a residual that does show up when you have it scanned. And usually I don't want the pencil residuals to be scanned, but that's a choice I'm making as an artist. So as you can see, I got my new light tab, and like I said, I'm got on order a storage device for my computer to allow me to record more and to give you more frequent videos I'm maxing out my computer right now. So it's a step-by-step over here. Anyway, that's how you are starting out looking at backgrounds. And my process using a light board to help me do illustration. And that's it for today, folks. Bye.